Hello and a warm welcome to Battleground 2018. We bring you this special edition of Big Picture from Rajasthan. We are in the city of lakes, that's Udaipur, which is also known as the Venice of the East. We are in the Mewar region, and this region is set to determine who's going to rule Rajasthan. There's a Hindi saying which says, Mewar hi sarkar banata hai. So how are the issues stacked up? How are the odds stacked up against the political parties? What are the issues which are gaining resonance in this election of Rajasthan 2018? Joining me are some of the prominent voices from the Mewar region. Anil Mehta, he's the Joint Secretary of the Jheel Sanrakshan Samiti. Remember, this is a city of lakes, and he would have an important opinion on that as well. Next to him is Dr. Saroj Kumar. He's Assistant Professor from the Government College, Udaipur. I welcome you on the show. And next to him is Kunjan Acharya. He is the head of the Department Journalism and Mass Comm from Sukhadia University. I welcome all of you gentlemen on this special edition of Big Picture. And I would like to begin from you, Saroj Kumar. There is a revolving door pattern which Rajasthan has always followed, that the incumbent government is always voted out. What is your sense you've got so far, that is this trend going to be bucked, or we are going to see something which is going to be very similar?
Well, Neelu ji, this incumbent anti-incumbent pattern is there for the last few years. It was not there. Actually, in 90s, governments also got repeated mandate. Bhairav Singh Shekhawat, he got the mandate after being dismissed in 1992 after this Babri controversy. But then around this time, this incumbent government led by Vasundhara Raje Scindia is facing certain problems, and the problems are well known, but then you can't say that this government will definitely go out, because at this time, this year or this election, we have Modi, we have Amit Shah, and we have Rahul Gandhi. So all of them have very strong leadership, central leadership qualities, and that they are going to influence this election. So nothing is certain, but then fine, let us see what happens.
Okay. Kunjan, this election, as Saroj was saying, that it's also about personalities. Of course, issues are there, issues have been there for so many years, but this is also about personalities. So do you see any kind of wave which is in favor of the BJP or the Congress? What is your sense?
Neelu, this election is a very interesting election, because there are no wave. There are no wave. There are no issue. Because the last assembly election, we can say that Modi wave was in high tide, but this election is going to in very interesting way, because Rajasthan's powerful mode is, we can say, the flipping mode. Sometimes Congress is in power and sometimes in BJP is power. But this time BJP is going to make a fight, big fight, because this is not a face election. This time, first we have see that the ticket distribution made a big battle, because in every election you can see that many people are very unsatisfied and rebel is come in the power. Right. So this time is also a very big problem. Right. The many people who have win 9 times, he's not got ticket, but he make a rebel, and he's also coming in as a without any party as a ticket system.
You mean to say that the rebels can make a lot of difference to both BJP and the Congress?
Yes, because they are making them in independent way. Who from Congress and BJP, they are fighting from so long. He was in minister, here they are in powerful positions, and they are making them independent elections. Only because of that they had not got ticket. So the face is a flipping now. Congress is have a new face, BJP new face, but the independent elections, the independent candidate is behind in the battle way as a rebel.
So independent candidates and these smaller people or the rebels can make a lot of difference. I'll come to you, Anil, that of course it's going to be a clash of personalities. There are no, so to say that, as he just said, that rebels can make a lot of difference. There are a lot of issues. According to you, what is the biggest issue at this point of time? What is the biggest issue which is afflicting Rajasthan at the moment, Rajasthan elections?
Normally in Rajasthan, the people vote for the party. So whatever the candidate, the voting pattern is for the party. So there is no third party sort of thing in Rajasthan. And the biggest, the factor which Saroj has referred is the factor of Modi and Amit Shah. So right now, earlier it was look like that there would be anti-incumbency sort of thing and the party may go. But in this last 10-15 years when the ticket distribution from the Congress was little delayed and then there was so many rebellions as he has said, that may have some slight factor. Now the situation is changed and at this moment you cannot openly declare or predict that which government would come in power.
Okay, so both parties, you're saying Congress and BJP are evenly poised at the moment. You can't say that it's advantage Congress or advantage BJP.
So in terms of advantage, see, the problem with the Congress is that there is they are not strong on the organization level. They are not strong on booth level. The advantage with BJP is that they are having very strong, booth level workers. Their organization level is very, very strong. Congress is not having. The good factor, the Congress which feels that this could be in our favor is just this flip mode, this anti-incumbency, right? This may turn into their favor. Otherwise, organizationally, Congress is very, very weak. But the infighting in the BJP itself may lead to some problem because the Vasundhara as a leader, then from the Mewar region, Gulab Chand Khattar as a region, then the Shekhar in Jodhpur, that region, he is a person. In Congress, there is infighting. Girja Vyas, the same person, is a toll leader.
Sachin Pilot, Ashok
Gehlot, then some Jat leader may be there. So the situation is, it's not very clear, but it's a real battle.
But when now the voter gets confused, now there is infighting in both the camps, in the Congress and in the BJP, as Anil just pointed out. What do you say of the voting behavior? How do you judge the mind of the voter? Ultimately, it's the voter who's going to be the decisive factor.
See, Neelu, actually, there have been changes. The things used to be predictable 10 years back. Now the voters have become very mature. Right. They will talk something in front of you and they have something in their own mind. So it's not very clear. The second thing is that people have become more committed. It's not that they are undecided. They have become committed. So as Anil ji has just pointed out, that organizationally also there is a difference between Congress and BJP, because you mind it, BJP has a backup in the form of RSS also. They have a team, so they work on the ground. And somewhere down the line, Congress lacks this. But I am not saying that Congress is inactive. Congress is basically harping on the anti-incumbency fully with all the vigor. Let us see how much they succeed in this. And it all depends on the leadership, the top leadership, and the coordination between the leadership. Because we have Ashok Gehlot, we have this Sachin Pilot, and in Mewar, CP Joshi is there. He is a very strong factor in this region. So how much they are going to coordinate their efforts in basically tapping this anti-incumbency, which was very visible 2 months back. But for the last almost 1 month after ticket distribution, things have suddenly started changing and changed somewhat in favor of BJP. That's what I feel.
Okay. But Anil, yes, I want to come to you on something very important. And with whomever you talk to in Rajasthan, there is one refrain which comes out from the opinions of the people, that they don't seem very happy with Vasundhara Raje as a chief minister, but they do want BJP to come back to power. Maybe it's because of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, or because of the organizational strength of the party, or because of the centrally sponsored schemes which are coming from the center. There is a palpable feeling that people want BJP to come to power, but they don't want Vasundhara. Why is that so? I want to understand from you, why is this feeling prevalent in the entire state of Rajasthan?
See, so you are absolutely right. The youth is highly motivated when they hear Modi, and many of these centrally sponsored schemes have done a lot for in the Rajasthan. See, this Amrit scheme, for the these city areas, then the smart city scheme, Ujjwala scheme, So there are many good schemes. Many of the cities were not having any good sanitation management systems, but now they are having. So as far as the Modi government is concerned, people are in very favor. There is a sense of, because it's a Mewar, it's a Rajasthan, So there is a sense of patriotism in this region, in the entire Rajasthan. And when the Narendra Modi talks about the patriotism, it raises the emotions and feeling of the people. But what people were expecting from the Vasundhara government was some good governance. Unfortunately, whether it's a BJP government or whether it's a Congress government, people do not find any change in the governance model. That's why
you are saying that people have not found any change in the governance model. On this, I would come to you, Saroj, that it's not that Vasundhara has not done anything. Now you have popular schemes like the Bhamasha schemes and the rainwater harvesting systems, smartphones at affordable prices, along with internet, scholarships. She has done a lot. But then also, if there is a resentment against a personality like Vasundhara, so are we to understand that enough publicity has not been done by the Vasundhara government of her initiatives? How do we understand that?
It's all about perception basically, Neelu. It's all about perception. She has delivered, she has done a lot of good things.
Okay.
I mean, government has done a lot of things in terms of education, higher education, opened so many colleges,
right.
Upgraded schools also. At panchayat level, every panchayat level has school,
right.
has higher secondary school. So she has done, Bhamasa, Yojana, I mean, she has done. But the perception started against her somewhat with certain events, certain incidents, starting from this Anandpal encounter, then Padmavati Sioux,
right.
then so many other things. So actually, it's not about non-delivery of government schemes, but basically perception. And the
So
perception was, I hold media also to somewhat responsible for building perception against or in favor of a leader.
Right.
That is happening around the country. It's not Rajasthan.
So Kunjan, yes.
See how this perception is formed. So I very minutely observed in Rajasthan that on one hand the BJP is very strong through its allied organizations and but the Congress very meticulously imposed many left ideologue in different institutions, whether it's the NGOs or the education institution. So there is a very meticulous effort by the left in association with Congress to put all this. See, NGOs, most of the NGOs are very critical. Why they are critical? Because the funding has stopped. Right. So they are the critical. Now the Congress, through its various organizations, have somehow, they motivated them to work for the government, to oppose the Modi government, to oppose the Vasundhara government, and they are very meticulously doing this job.
Right.
Whether it's educational institutions or NGOs. So, and they are very effective in the media.
Right.
See, the media in Rajasthan is mostly left oriented. There are very few people who are.
You made an important point, Anil. But Kunjan, I'll come to you on this. That there is an often heard allegation about Vasundhara that she is arrogant, she is inaccessible. MLAs can't reach out to her. But at the same time, when you see her pictures, when she's charming the women voters with her own repartee, the picture is totally different. The way she's reached out to the voters and the way she's especially reached out to the women voters. So. Is there some kind of misread as far as her personality is concerned?
Anti-incumbency is always a factor. In Rajasthan, you know that always flipping the government.
Right.
But this time, the voters have a sympathy to central government. They want to repeat in 2019. But anti-incumbency is a role between the hurdle in 2019 way. So the voters have a sympathy that if we want to go 2019, we have to promote this assembly elections. That's why we have a big scenario. Besides anti-incumbency, we want to go through the central government.
Okay.
Secondly, what we have discussed that delay of tickets that Anil said in Congress party, very much caucus and the confusion is created between the voters that Congress have no face and three face. Means earlier the Sachin Pilot was the
there's still a confusion on who is going to be their chief ministerial candidate.
But the three major candidates, the Sachin Pilot, Ashok Gehlot and CP Joshi, both are in the battlefield. So still is confusion. Who will be chief minister? So voter want to make a clear picture. So who will the leader? So sometimes this you have asked that the questions about the leader it's because of all these things that making confusions.
Right. In fact, Saroj, this important point which he made, that the Congress cannot declare its chief ministerial candidate, and the major compulsion, I think, is the caste compulsion, because you have, and caste is a reality of the Rajasthan elections. How crucial do you see this caste cauldron playing out in 2018, when there is so much of resonance on development politics, when people are banking so much on the centrally sponsored schemes of development, there's a politics of performance, but at the same time you see this heavy caste cauldron being stirred by Congress, by BJP. So how rampant is this factor?
Well, caste is a reality. A caste in politics is reality in Rajasthan too, and it's evident in the pattern. Tickets have been distributed by both the parties. In Mewar region only, it's tickets were given and they were taken back by the pressure of caste groupings. So this also happened, and because of this, it happened in Congress, it happened in BJP, it happened in Mavali, it happened in Khedwada. So it's a reality. You can't deny that caste is affecting politics here and affecting in a big way. Now, second thing, as Kunjan said, that there is a sympathy for the central government. There is a sympathy, clear sympathy for Modi government. Here lies the hope for BJP, and here lies the concern for the Congress, that Modi remains a positive factor in this election. And that is the way Congress is planning to neutralize this impact is very interesting to observe, because they have not yet actually countered Modi in a big way. They are actually involved in.
Now, what do you have to say to CP Joshi's comment? It was a very abominable kind of a comment which he made.
Sure.
But it was definitely a casteist comment which he made against the Prime Minister.
That front of EC, Election Commission. But as the reports have come to media, that the issues related to caste of Prime Minister, the issue of father and mother of Prime Minister, is abominable. It should not be there. The politics and the elections should be fought around issues, around the performance of Vasundhara Raje government, or around the performance of Modi government. But it's very unfortunate that they have raised, or people have raised, it should not have been done. But then Modi is here. Modi is here in Bhilwara, Modi is here in South Rajasthan, in Dungarpur, and he is going to answer. He has answered, and I think clean politics should be a mission for all the parties. Congress, be it BJP, be it third front led by Hanuman Beniwal here. He is also a force to reckon with, at least in Marwar. So they should be doing something to have a very clean election, issue based election, not caste based. It was unfortunate actually.
But caste as
is a very major factor, because if you Neelu sees that when we going to micro level, if you go to panchayat level or the Jila Parishad level, the caste is making big role, performing big role. This type of elections, means assembly elections, is a bigger way. The candidates making a statement and making confusion in the and they are playing the caste card. One of candidate in Chittor region is giving threat to their voters that if you will not vote me, if I am your caste, I will commit suicide. And secondly, one candidate shows here, this candidate of CM, CP Joshi, he have questioned to the PM caste and the other big leader of BJP. This is not fair. But what I think, that when we are going micro level, in small level, because they are addressing a small village and they are Brahmins, so they are just defining the Hindutva, because the BJP is playing Hindutva card in all over India. So Congress also want to play something from the Hindu, and this is only because of the small caste villages.
What about the Muslim voters in Rajasthan? They form a chunk of about 13%. And this time, I believe, what I have sensed from the ground is that even the Muslims are not very happy with the Congress, because they've not made a public outreach to them. Somewhat they have shown some kind of a reservation towards the Muslims. So is that something which is going to could end up denting Congress?
See, if development is taking place, then development is for all.
Yeah.
Development is not restricted to one community. Development will definitely benefit Muslims, Hindus, all citizens. So development has taken place, and the plans and programs of Modi government or this government, this incumbent government, is benefiting all the groups. That is why it seems, it appears that these minority groups also have, you know, positive positive mindset towards this incumbent government. Let us see to what extent they actually extend their support to the government. But right now, I think in Mewar at least, there is no communal polarization, and people are viewing this government, incumbent government, in terms of its delivery of programs and plans, and communal polarization is not visible, at least in this region.
Right.
So I would like to add, Neelu,
Yes.
two things. One is about the accessibility or inaccessibility of the Vasundhara. So it's not absolute inaccessibility, it's a relative. Ashok Gehlot being a very popular leader and very accessible to the public, so to that degree Vasundhara is not accessible, but Vasundhara is accessible. Secondly, on the caste issue, now the Muslims have…
Vasundhara has made out an effort to reach out to the voters, maybe for example through her radio address, which was very much hyped. She told the voters how she came out with her delivery programs.
She was wonderful in all these Rath Yatra programs, you know.
The Gaurav Yatra
Gaurav
which she
Yatra
took out,
programs,
yeah.
But on the issue of the Muslim votes, now the Muslims have understood that for long they have been used as the vote bank. And I strongly believe, and this is my observation, that on the basis, on the issue of communal disharmony is all a media propaganda. I live in Rajasthan, I live in Udaipur, in Mewar. There is no communal inharmony. The people are in very good harmony. But since it's a political issue, it's a vote gaining issue, so the media normally polarize. So I'm making the allegation on media. So media and the political parties, for their own interests, they only normally escalate this issue. Otherwise, at micro level, at the ground level, the people are very happy with each other. But the media reports, the escalation of the issues in newspapers, they affect, and they sometimes feel insecure.
Talking about the brass tacks issues, of this particular region. For example, we are in Udaipur. It's a city of lakes. A lot of restoration work is on, and your organization is involved a lot in the restoration of lakes. What is the potential of tourism in this area?
The main attraction for tourism is these pristine lakes, this natural, not natural but natural setting of the lakes, the history of Mewar, the history of Rajasthan, these palaces, these mountains, these hills, these forts. This is the major attraction, and this is attracting the tourist, whether it's a domestic tourist or the foreign tourist. But the governments, whatever the government, they have failed to restore all these tourist attraction points. Vasundhara has done good work in restoration of the old, the historical monuments, and there is one Mewar complex Yojana to restore all these monuments, and there is a very good Pratap Gaurav Kendra in Udaipur itself. But it's not a very organized sort of development. The natural resources in terms of the lakes and in terms of the hills, they are on the point of destruction. And if you do not stop their destruction, the tourism industry will vanish. And they are not just tourist attractions. They are the
lot of schemes have been put forward by the central government to tap the tourist potential, to tap the tourist circuits. So is that making a difference in areas like Udaipur, Chittorgarh?
So how will it affect? See, this is for the Amrit scheme. So it will help in having the good sanitation system, right? See this smart city program. So this whole setting would improve, right? The pan Udaipur would improve, or the pan city would improve. This will certainly improve the tourism, but we should not look at these natural resources in terms of the tourism only. And they are the basis of the ecology of this region, whether it's a Mewar region or the Marwar region.
Rural distress. Rajasthan predominantly has a population of about 75% is the rural population involved in farming and a whole lot of things, So, how much is the rural distress palpable in this election? Are the farmers really disgruntled, besides the fact that Vasundhara has done a lot of things, loan waivers have come, she has addressed the grievances of the farmers, but still, how potent is this factor of rural distress in this election?
Farmers are very important, and the issues are very important. Government has done adequately in terms of waiver of loans, cheap electricity, and we see today at least that electricity is provided adequately in villages also, not in cities, but villages also. So rural distress is not actually visible here. Okay. It's not distress. Calling distress is somewhat, it's atrocious.
Okay.
It's not distress. Farmers are demanding their certain genuine demands, but they are not in distress, and they have been addressed, their issues have been addressed, their Krishi Mandi or this marketing thing, their demand for cheap electricity, electricity at the time of irrigation, then their this MSP issue. MSP has been addressed by central government, and that will definitely benefit the incumbent government. I think so. So distress is not there, but then fine, farmers are annadatas and they should be respected, their demand should be addressed.
Yes, final comment from you.
In what terms?
No, as in your expectation from the government, the new government which is going to come to power.
My expectation, let's give the good governance.
Okay.
That is the only issue which the people want.
Okay. And Kunjan?
We are looking forward to the development and the security and the employment as well, because the youth is all dependent on the employment.
Okay.
So they are is a positive way.
Okay. So from the last half an hour, the discussion we've had, we can only arrive at the conclusion that development has happened. Yes, there are issues on the ground, but it's not that the Vasundhara government has not performed. And as far as the odds which are stacked against the present government, both Congress and BJP look evenly poised, and therefore to say that it's advantage Congress or it's advantage BJP, that would be difficult. So all eyes would be on the voting day on 7 December. Thanks to all the gentlemen, Anil Mehta, Saroj, Kumar and Kunjan Acharya. It was a pleasure talking to you on this special edition of Big Picture. Goodbye and thanks for your time.